There's only one name for this bug eye, Lazarus. This bug eye is about as dead can be, and since Christ don't do cars, that pretty much leaves it up to me, with the support of you folks. This piece goes in here and is going to require a bunch of trimming, but I've got to get this bent down to line up with here also. So it looks to me like I need to get a little marker. I need to trim off some right along this edge. There. And this edge here. And where else? This is going to let that shift that way a tiny bit. That needs to go that far. So I'm going to need to trim off this here. And then some along in here. And this piece, when it's in there, needs to have a bend line right there, which I need to mark from the bottom side. So that's good there. Oops. Oops. Right there. And so that's centered on that hole. This needs to have a little bit trimmed off right along that edge right there. And that corner right there needs to be straightened out. And that right there needs to be straightened out. Okay. Two ways I can do this. I can either try filing these pieces to get them to fit, or I can use grinding devices. Which shall I use? Which shall I use? I think I'm going to use a little bit of filing first. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. For less than the price of a cup of coffee each month, you can support this project as a member on Patreon. See the links in the description below. Years ago, I was told that to become a certain type of engineer, ooh, that sounds good. To become a certain type of engineer in Germany, part of your apprenticeship was they gave you a rough cut piece of steel, and you had to file that into a perfect cube shape. And until you could do that, you did not progress. Now, I never knew anybody that was that type of engineer. However, I did know a wonderful person named Klaus, who grew up in Germany during World War II and was a master cabinet maker in wood. I happened to meet him while he was working as an engineer for a laboratory casework company that I work for. And let me tell you, the stuff that he had to do to get his master craftsman certification, he had to make an absolutely incredible chest of drawers out of wood. I went in the guy's house one time, and his cabinetry and trim work was absolutely astounding. You could look at it and not see, you know, where the doors, the header for the door came up against the jamb like that, the side of the door, or the door jamb. You couldn't even hardly see those joints. They were just perfect. I do not have that sort of patience. But I suppose that if you go through that training, you learn that sort of patience. Let's see how close I am. I don't think I'm very, very close. Do. You're not going to be able to see much, but you'll be able to see that I'm at least doing something over here. That part right there is almost good. Yeah, almost. Almost good. That almost connects. Got a problem right there. That's not good. All right. Well, I'm going to turn you folks off for a while and make a bunch of screaming noise and file and grind and do that sort of stuff. And I'll be back when I have a little bit more to go through. Let's talk about how I'm doing this. This little bugger here is called a Dynafile 55. I picked this thing up at an auction, I don't know, 30 years ago. 79, 50, 89, I don't know. I'm guessing 30 years ago. And held on to it. Had no idea what the hell I was going to use it for. But it was in a box of stuff I bought, so it was like, okay. I had to put in a new O-ring because it was leaking air real bad. It has its own built-in oiler that you unscrew this little screw, pour oil in there, and it will automatically oil itself. To change the belts, it uses a 1/2-inch wide belt. I don't know how long they are. Buy them in a package of 50 on Amazon. And a little bit of a hassle because this one has a 90-degree turn in it, which is one of the reasons why it requires such a long belt. Now, you can get a similar item, something that does essentially the same thing, at Harbor Freight. It has a belt that's about, I'm guessing it's about this long on it. It's about $30-some, and it's a 3/8 inch, I think. Now, this is nice for getting up into corners, particularly where you have, you know, like if this was two pieces of metal coming together and I got a bead welded in here and I want to get in there and grind that bead, works great for this. It's also great if you want to take down metal real fast. You use it across like this, and it cuts it down real fast. If you use it like this, it will put a groove in the belt like that and waste half of your stuff, but you can do that. And sometimes if you're grinding down a weld or something like that, you're going to end up with that happening anyways. But one of the other ways of using it is if you put it at an angle, you use the full width of the belt and you get a wider, flatter surface. Takes a shitload of air. My compressor will put out 6.2 SCFM at 90 psi. This thing, the compressor will probably keep up, but it'll only put out about 45 or 50 psi. So this one uses a hell of a lot of air. It's industrial strength. I priced these things and knew these things are going for about $550. So obviously the $30, $40 you spend on this smaller one at Harbor Freight is kind of a deal. But for things like this, where I'm having to go in and shape this, and you'll notice that this curves down like that, and there's some other weird stuff going on here, because when I cut this piece out, when I cut the rusted piece out, I got it someplace over there, I'm not going to bother to bring it out, but when I cut that rusted piece out, I ended up with not perfectly straight lines, and when I made the pattern it got a little bit worse, and when I cut the steel from the pattern it got a little bit worse. So I'm having to go in and custom fit all of these pieces one at a time. So that's what I'm doing, folks, and how I'm doing it. So I have trimmed the piece that goes into here, and it all fits in there pretty good. I've had to put a prop up underneath of this. This panel wants to bend down, but this is pretty good along through all of these edges. I'll probably have to tack it and hold it and tack it and hold it, and while I'm doing all that. When I was cutting it out, I accidentally cut right here and right here through this piece of angle iron. So the first thing I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go in and weld this up on each side, and then grind it down on each side so that it's flat once again. But I had to weld up this part here. I don't know if you can see that, but I think you can. And this part here I had to weld up because that piece there was broken loose from the factory. It was never welded together at the factory. So that piece goes in there. Once I get that piece in, then I can hammer this piece down and get it welded back on, get this piece welded back on, and then I'll be able to fit and trim this piece, which goes on the other side. I'll be able to fit and trim in this piece here, which slides in to here to fill this spot in right here. And in case you're wondering, the reason this area is rusted out so bad is it sat for a long time outside, and leaves and stuff collected here, and the acid in the leaves just ate the hell out of the steel and rusted it all out. Same thing happened over on this other side, right there. This is the paper pattern that I made for this side, which looks kind of sort of like it would fit. But when it was all over and done with, this is the piece that's going to be welded in here, and this piece is going to have to be welded onto this piece here to give me something that I can set that piece on and weld onto This piece is rusted out, so it's very, very thin. But I think I can get enough to where I can weld it on this way to this piece. And then, once it's welded to that piece, put the other piece on top and weld them down. Once this piece is welded into place, then I can come back and fit this piece in and trim it and fit it and weld it down to everything that's in there. So that's the plan. Real quick, I am going to weld this up. I cleaned off the face of my welding mask and cleaned inside too. Stuck a little thing here because I've got these lights that come down, and it does make it kind of hard to see sometimes. So that takes care of that. That takes care of that. Got gloves and everything else on. And there's that. Gas is still on because I keep forgetting to turn it off. All right, now I need to grind that down and get it so that the other piece will fit in. Be back shortly with that process. Now comes a rather tricky part, because I need to grind this down right here and right here to the level of this metal. And I need kind of a square edge right here if I can get it. So what I'm doing is I'm going to use a brand new grinding wheel on the grinder. Hopefully that'll let me get a square cut down in there. And I'm going to have to be real careful while I'm doing it too. Okay, I need a whole bunch there, 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 and there, and there, so that I can weld this thing down to that inner piece. There's all my holes. the old hot melt glue gun here. And that fucking thing is caught on the edge. Son of a gun. Son of a sea biscuit. How the hell did that happen? It growed. Shit. All right, time to fall back and regroup for a few minutes. So what do you do when you need to cut? Let me explain the problem. This piece right here has grown just a little bit from the welding so that it's now binding against this piece. So I need to cut a little tiny slot. But if I try using, I obviously can't use my big grinder, I can't use the air-powered grinder, so I am going to use this little Dremel tool to try to cut that slot and open it up. And you know what, folks? That worked a treat. That worked so good. It's amazing. Actually makes me wonder what I should do about this little mess I got right here, because that's a little tight also. Well, this didn't last very damn long, but it sure got that cut through. I'm impressed. Okay, for this particular bit of brain surgery, I'm going to do something that I don't recommend anybody else do. I'm going to line everything up, close my eyes, and hit attack and see how it goes. Don't do this at home. Because I've got to be able to get that piece right there lined up perfectly. shit. That shit was because I didn't close my eyes fast enough, folks. I got a tiny bit of flash, not a lot, but a tiny bit. Just enough to make it hard to see, but not impossible. So I ain't doing that shit again. This is a cold chisel that I've blunted the end off on. Alright, set that back over there out of the way. Set that up there out of the way. Tighten that up good. So I can tack those off. That was a terrible tack there. Oh well. I am going to let that sit and cool down for a while and then grind it off and see what I need to patch up, because I know there's holes in it. In the meantime, I will come over here . And work on welding this in. Hell, I can't see. I don't think I hit the damn thing. Be honest with this goddamn helmet. Let's try it down in here instead. That tack weld should have gotten it. Alright, I need, no I don't need. I need to grind that down is what I need to do. God damn it. Fit in there now. That fits pretty good right there. And all along there. I say we go with it. Right there. Right there. Seems to be pretty good. Touch more grindy. That's it, right there. I'm going with that. Oops, don't you jump down there. I want that piece right there, like that. Like that. All right. Here we go. That was really fucking inconvenient. Why did that son of a bitch do that? And of course this side doesn't have the hole in the bottom, so I can't get down in there. Ah, damn it. That goddamn piece literally twisted on me. There we go. Center of the cutoff wheel blew out. That's inconvenient. let that set for a while.
Okay, folks, that's it for this episode of BugeyeBob. I really appreciate you watching and hope that, like me, you've learned a few things in this episode. Please like, subscribe, and comment on this video and share it with others. You can help support this project by becoming a member at patreon.com/BugeyeBob in the link below. Patreon paid members get early access to the videos and in the future will enjoy question and answer sessions and live streams. As this channel grows, future Patreon member benefits will include bonus or extended episodes, member names and credits, and the ability to suggest topics for future videos. You can follow this BugeyeBob restoration on YouTube and Facebook at the links below. Once again, thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, and supporting this channel. And remember that sometimes the most important job you can do is a dirty, thankless job.